To the extent that most eyes in the country were on any one thing today, they were, of course, on the Michael Jackson Memorial in Los Angeles. But in Washington, D.C., the big crowds were drawn to the Senate Gallery on Capitol Hill. Check this out.
Congratulations, Senator. Thank you.
Get the sense this is going to go on for a while. Let's just cut to 30 seconds later. Um, 30 seconds more, I think. Is this like not hitting the fast forward fast enough on your DVD player? Can we skip to a minute later? The crowd in the Senate gallery today applauded for a solid, uninterrupted, unabashed 2 minutes and 50 seconds for the newest member of the United States Senate, Al Frankin. Why were they also psyched? Maybe because they have a suspicion that the arrival of the 60th Democratic senator means more of the Democratic agenda will get done in Congress. Even though what happens every day on Capitol Hill doesn't always make for big, exciting, massively covered news, the fact remains that even in the pre-Senator Frankin, pre-60-seat majority days, President Obama has already done stuff on his legislative agenda that would have been sort of jaw-droppingly landmark if it had happened in, say, the last presidential term. A partial list of bills President Obama has already signed into law: major new tobacco regulation, unprecedented credit card reform, financial fraud enforcement, a public lands management law that protects 2 million acres of American wilderness. And of course, there's the $787 billion economic stimulus package. There's S-CHIP, the state children's health insurance program. There's the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act for equal pay for equal work. All of these things are really big legislative deals in grand historical context, and they're all already done. But there are even bigger deals coming up on the president's agenda. There's the matter of his Supreme Court nominee, Sonia Sotomayor. There's the climate change legislation currently on the table, a version of which has already passed the House. That makes right now the first time that Congress has ever dealt seriously with the issue of global warming. And there's the great white whale of American legislation, that is healthcare reform. Now, is Al Frankin the golden ticket to get all these things done? No. But clearly, there are at least quite a few people in Washington who think that his arrival as a U.S. Senator is pretty exciting. Joining us now is the senior senator from Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar. Senator Klobuchar, thank you so much for coming back on the show tonight.
Well, it is great to be on again, Rachel. Thank you.
So I'm measuring the excitement in the Senate by virtue of how long the uninterrupted applause went on. Was it that exciting? Were people as psyched as it seemed?
Well, the gallery was filled with Al's friends and his family and just people who had been waiting for this to happen for so long. As you know, the trial lasted longer than the Lindbergh baby kidnapping trial. It went on for something like, who's counting, but 246 days since the day of the election. So there was just a lot of good feeling for him, and just a lot of joy in that room. And always when a new senator comes in, there's a lot of dignity and civility in the Senate. So it was a good day.
Before we get to the big picture political implications of him coming into the Senate, let me ask you, just personally and as an individual senator, how soon does your job get easier since you've been handling the burden of all the Senate representation from Minnesota?
Well, our staff, as you know, I've said many times, I'm so proud of them. I think they will continue to do double the work for a bit because we're not giving our cases over to him as his office is brand new, but gradually, obviously, constituents will call his office as well as ours. For me, I'm pleased it's over. I went 6 months, Rachel, as the only senator without deciding to resign in front of a lake or disappear in Argentina. So it's a kind of a personal achievement for me.
But now that he's there, you are now going to collapse and put on waders and quit, right?
Yeah, I think something like that. No. there is a lot of work to be done, as you pointed out.
Well, are there specific things that you think can be done now that Senator Frankin has been sworn in, now that there are 60 Democrats in the Senate, that maybe couldn't have been done before? Everybody's saying that number 60 isn't a magic number, but do you think that it does actually change the calculus of what might be able to get done?
Well, it's not a magic number because, as you've heard from many analysts and pundits, we have 2 people that are sick that haven't been in the Senate. Usually our major legislation does come with Republican support. It might be 3, like the stimulus package. It might be 30, like some of the other bills. But it is always helpful when you are trying to push some difficult legislation to have an extra vote. You look at the Sotomayor nomination. I personally am not going to put words in my colleagues' mouths on the other side of the aisle. I'm sure I would think that she will get some Republican support, so it wouldn't matter. But a nomination like that, if it becomes highly charged and it's important for, say, a president to get someone in, it's always helpful to have those 60 votes. As we head to these major issues that we're dealing with energy and health care reform, I was just up in northern Minnesota visiting some small businesses there. Some people were spending $20,000 for a family of 4, owner of a small backpack company up there that is just, flourished in this little town, and it's just getting so expensive that he said he wouldn't have started the business years ago if he would have known how much the healthcare costs were eating into their bottom line. And you hear that all the time. So we have to get this done. I'm hopeful we'll do it, and I still think that we could easily do it with some bipartisan support. It is a major undertaking. 17% of our economy. Other efforts in the past have failed, but we've gotten to the point now when you look at the wasted costs and what's happening. I know this from Minnesota, where we have an excellent model for how you can save money in health care. We just have to move forward with this.
I know that one of the real important political calculations on health care and some of these other major issues is what conservative Democrats are going to do. Al Frankin is widely perceived to be a big-time liberal because of his association with Air America, which I'm associated with, and some of the other things in his past. I personally don't see him as a particularly liberal guy. Do you know where we should expect him to be on the conservative liberal spectrum?
I can't predict that. I just know that I think some of the national media were thinking he was going to be just some laugh riot from the day he started, and I think they were somewhat stunned at how serious he was about the issues. People in Minnesota were used to that. He'd been debating and talking about issues for quite a while. So I just know that he's buckling down and getting to work. He also understands in the healthcare area, for instance, how important it is for Minnesota to make sure that whatever plan comes out, that it really looks at the cost savings that we get in our state, where it's a high quality, low cost state, and we want to make sure that there are incentives in place so the rest of the country does that as well.
One last thing. I don't usually do this, but I have to do this because I'm back from vacation and I've got you. I want you to listen.
I can't wait to see.
You know what it is. You made these 2 predictions during appearances on this show, and I have to ask you for a new one given how right you've been. Check this out.
Okay. My prediction, Rachel, is that we will have a new senator by the time the ice melts on Lake Minnetonka.
Which usually
that is predicted to be
go ahead.
April
usually happens
11th.
April 11th.
April 11th. I keep giving you predictions. Remember when I said it would be done when the ice melted? And now this is my last kitschy prediction. When the corn is knee high on the 4th of July.
When the corn,
and if it's not done by then, then I'm going to be mad.
See, I gave you credit for the first prediction because on April 13th, the 3-judge panel declared that Al won the election. Then, of course, Norm appealed to the Minnesota Supreme Court. And then you made the second prediction, which held up really even better. So now I have to ask you to make another prediction. How long
as you know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, ask me the question.
How long do you think it will be before Senator Al Frankin agrees to appear as my guest on this show?
Whoa, he has really focused on local media. So I would predict within a year. And what did I say the last time? And if I'm not right about that, I'll just be mad, right?
That's fair enough.
So we'll see.
At least you didn't say till hell freezes over, which is what I was expecting.
Well, maybe. Anyway.
All right, anytime between then. Senator Amy Klobuchar, Democrat of Minnesota, thank you so much for coming.